So, I very much want to work on physically actually striking, right? So we're going to start off by having made the mistake of being too wide. And so when I'm in this position, if I have Jordy for a second, if I look at Jordy as a target, as I often do, if I'm wide, right, the likelihood that I'm going to get a straight shot from the center is almost entirely gone. So I'm going to be hitting angles. I'm going to, if you think of that center line of the face, I'm going to be hitting the sides, maybe the neck, maybe the face. So the best way to hold this, if I get you to put your mitts on, is back to back like that, and he can back his face up a little bit. This is the encroaching face. So imagine for a second if Jordy's face was there. That's close, right? That's a very awkward position to be in. So little tricks from here. Number one, when I'm defining space, especially if I'm on a wall, there's a difference between having my butt on the wall and having my shoulders on the wall. And I should play with both. I often think of each cheek and each shoulder as being a corner. I very rarely want to stay flat with all four corners. It's dangerous. I might have two shoulders, but then as soon as I go to blade, if I can't take a big step, I'm one shoulder. I might have two butt cheeks, but no shoulder, and then one side of the hip, right? So I want to play with 2 to 1, 2 to 1, but try to avoid 4. Because when you get 4, then it begets oftentimes the head as the fifth, and then you're done. You get stuck, it's very hard to move. Even if somebody's pushing my head against the wall, and I have to have head and shoulders, I take hips off. If somebody pushes my hips against the wall, I take head and shoulders off. I always want to have mobility and be off and be able to move. When you're here, you start getting hit, you have nowhere to go, you're smacking on the wall. So that's rule number one. There's a difference from shooting with your shoulders on the wall. There's a difference from shooting with your hips on the wall. I like to generally do hips because then I have the ability to retreat to my shoulders. So it's almost like a fence. I'm okay here, we're talking, we're polite. If I have to go to shoulders, I start advancing with my hips because I'm already on my way out. If I stay, even if I have no touch with my hips, but I'm back, you're going to see this difference. You feel kind of encroached. So it's really, there's an angulation. It's not just blading the body on a vertical, it's on that medial plane as well. Does that make sense? When the hands are up now, I want to look, if I'm shooting from wide, keep your trunk exaggeratively engaged for this, and I'm going to do a little tight, almost valsalvic exhale. I want to see how short and fast I can make the motion. So anytime I try to involve more than one thing, a step and a pivot and a elbow and a shoulder, you'll start to have telegraphy. You'll start to have prediction. And you can get away with that in boxing, bam, 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 right? Because I'm hiding this with 2 jabs to your face. But if I'm here at that range and I start by doing that, he's going to respond. And if he's already touching my chest or holding my shirt, the second I go up, he's hitting. So I'm looking to say, what one thing can I hit with? For example, my shoulders are touching, my hips are off. From here, if I step, you think it's going to feel good, right? If I'm leaning back, the stepping is very odd. If my butt is on the wall, I'm already leaning forward, my shoulder stepping is a little bit easier. So there's a difference. Play with both. Say shoulders back. What's a step like versus hips forward versus one cheek. One cheek is a difference. If I, for example, have my left foot forward, my left cheek off the wall, that's like a basic stance. It's good. But if I have my left cheek on the wall, right shoulder forward, that's like a twisted lead, right? It's kind of a bit odd. So that might be better from the other side. Maybe. If I hit, I can hit just from dropping my weight. Boom. I can hit just from the hinge of my elbow. I can hit just from, what else? What else can I hit with? Yeah, it could be just my elbow flexion. Could be one of my favorites, especially if I'm off to the side. But the only thing I can do on the center line, guys, at this distance, what is it? If I'm that close, he's tight, he's inside my funnel. Closest weapon, closest target, even closer. Because here it's kind of tough. Head. Boom. Head is super good, right? And so I'll try to avoid headbutting from here unless I have a lean over. I have a guy doing that and you're leaning back. That's about the only time head's going to work. If I do head butting, it's the exact same thing. No wave. Not only is it telegraphic, but the wave is going to jiggle you, right? You'll see some styles teaching you to hit like this and whip, and the headbutt should be like I'm coughing. It should be me going from a braced position to a more braced position. That's it. And I'm using the sort of the hairline, natural hairline up into any of the soft tissue of the face. Any hairline, the back, the unicorn horn, right in. I prefer using the angles, the sides of my head to the center. I find when you go in with the center, even if you're braced like this, Sometimes you get the nose, sometimes you hurt yourself. If I go in with the angle, it's nice and hard, I go right into the face. I don't try, some styles, again, good intention, and they, you'll see it, they scoop and they cut with the head. It can work, it can, but I just want that. And I'm not trying to add any shake to my brain. It's my brain, I like it. I go pop, 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 and I just start working. Headbutt is fantastic. Headbutt needs to be about this hard. That's all. If you're headbutting and it's, I do 10 and I need a break, it's too hard. Right? You got to imagine, guys, take knuckles and just touch your face like that. That's already more mass than your arm. It's your whole trunk. A little shot is destructive. So if you want to do headbutts, that's about the only one you can have a little bit of a vertical. But even then, I would still suggest keeping it on a vectored angle because I want to advocate that kind of an approach, angle to angle. Even if I'm stuck in your funnel and you're like, you're here, I want to aim just one side, left or right of your nose, right into your tissue. Make sense? So take one thing, whether it's a step or a drop or a hinge or a headbutt, whatever it is, or a knee, whatever. If you want a knee, you can have them be like that, and I see the difference between shoulders, knee is okay, hips, knee starts to feel a bit weird. Take 2 and go to 1. 2 and go to 1. See what fires and what doesn't. So you have a skill set, and very quickly you're going to realize hips are on wall, shoulders are forward. You have certain things that work great. As you start to go back into your retreat, you have other things that work great. Elbows are great when you're back. They're great when you're forward too. You'll start to have little skill sets that you allocate to each. That's it. You can switch about